Hey Phoenixes, Daniela Langford here of Redesign Your Life Forever, and welcome to another story time. Today we're going to be talking about sensitivity. Mostly, do you hear this? Why are you so sensitive? Why do you take everything I say the wrong way? I don't understand why this bothers you so much. You get that all the time? Yeah, I used to too. Well, depending on who I'm talking with, I still do. and that's okay. But really, what is this sensitivity? Why are we so sensitive? What's going on, and what can we actually do about it? Now, for many years, I dealt with this problem, and it still crops up every now and again. But why do you get so emotionally affected by things, right? I spent years being triggered constantly, not realizing why. And it comes down to several factors. A lot of time in our modern society, we don't value sensitivity. We don't value the feminine side of the spectrum, the softness, the compassion, the understanding. And in fact, most people will make you feel guilty for being sensitive, which is insane. Because if we weren't sensitive, then we wouldn't care about each other, okay? We wouldn't care about our pets. We wouldn't care about the earth. So really, this is a very warped and distorted mindset that has, almost been imposed upon us, and we've just taken on, as the way things should be normally. But with this new paradigm of souls coming in, me, you, that's being thrown right out the window, because guess what? We're sensitive. We're built that way. It comes in our soul programming, and there ain't shit you can do about it, my friends. In that sense of you can't turn yourself into an uncaring, unfeeling person without destroying and missing, some unique and necessary part of yourself. Now, what I've found most of the time is that indeed we're not actually overly sensitive. We're just overly triggered. And we are triggered constantly because of unreleased trauma. What do they call it? I can't. My brain just totally farted. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. We're all suffering, practically, all of us, that are in this position right now, we are all suffering with like a soul level of PTSD. Not to mention the crazy shit that actually happens to us in the physical that has brought us up to this point in our lives. So when people say to me, it's like, oh, well, people tell me that I'm too sensitive. It's like, no, honey, you're just overly triggered. There are things that need to be released and accepted and just transmuted so that then things don't hit you so hard, because there is a level that we can get to that is, almost, it's a loving detachment where of course we love, of course we're conscious and we're concerned, and we care and we have that compassion and understanding but it's without the judgment. It's without the triggers. And that's what we're really hoping to get to. So when people tell you, it's like, oh, why, and when you feel, why am I so sensitive? Why do these things, bother me so bad? What's wrong with me? There's nothing really, truly wrong with you. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. This is a huge thing I tell my clients all the time. You're not broken, because so many people come to me and they say, oh my God, Daniela, I'm broken. Like, I don't know if I can fix this. And of course we can fix this. It's never too late to fix this. So now that we've kind of talked about a little bit what it is and where it's coming from, because of course, soul level PTSD from previous experiences, previous lifetimes, things that we've gone through that we've held on to on the soul level. And then again, of course, those physical experiences that our ego mind is holding on to that keeps us repeating the same patterns, that keeps us in that stressed out, highly triggered, ready to just explode at anything kind of, mentality and emotional and, spiritual energy. And that is what is happening. It's not that you're too sensitive. It's not that you can't handle it. It's just that energetically, emotionally, spiritually, physically, it has just blown you wide open. I mean, like I said before, we end up being photos that are overexposed, perpetually just blown out. And of course, I mean, you're not going to get a clear picture of what's really happening if the picture's all blown out. So, I mean, to take it into that, really sort of, mundane world comparison, but that's really what I feel is, happening to a lot of us, is that we're so blown out and we're so heavily triggered that we seem to be so sensitive to everything. Everything affects us deeply. And yes, everything affects us deeply, but it doesn't have to have those like soul carving feelings that make us want to curl up into a ball and die, which been there, done that. It's not fun. Nobody likes being in that position. So then, of course, the question is, what the heck do we do about it? So we have to develop something called emotional, not resistance, emotional resilience. There we go. Emotional resilience. Now, that is something, again, that goes along with that loving detachment. That is, when you see something that there's nothing that you can do about, but you can feel compassion for that situation, but you don't feel guilt and you don't feel personally responsible for solving that particular situation or that issue or that person or anything, like you love, but you can detach. So that way you don't take it into yourself, because that's what we're doing, is particularly as a sensitive, as indigos, crystal, rainbow, star children, all of us, whatever title we like to call ourselves, we're all of this feminine, more on this feminine spectrum. So of course we're going to be more naturally sensitive, more in tune to what is really going on. And so when we internalize all that crap and we hold on to it, that's what's happening. We're overexposing ourselves and we end up being overly triggered. So what do? You've got to love. Literally, I know you're like, okay, well, everyone says that. No, but you've got to love. You've got to self-parent positively. We've talked about that. There's a video, check that out. Self-Parenting 101 is a great intro for this. How to talk to yourself in your head. How do you talk to yourself in your head? Very important. And it's very important for developing emotional resilience and also spending time meditating, taking that quiet, still time. I mean, people love to tell me all the time, well, Daniela, I have a husband, I have kids, there's no quiet time at my house. Honey, we've got to create that sacred space. It's about that self-care that we keep talking about, that I keep trying to drill, into the group, is that self-care, self-support, and compassion. These are the things that are going to help develop that emotional resilience so that you're not overly exposed, so that things don't trigger you anymore, okay? These are the things. Self-positive parenting, taking that time for meditation, taking that time for yourself, loving and being compassionate with yourself, okay? There's really no other way. And we keep coming back around to this, and I know that, but there really is no other way to start to develop these things than to start to love yourself, to be kind to yourself. All right, my Phoenixes, that is my little story time for you today, talking about why are we so sensitive and what's wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. We just have to practice self-love. Things that we didn't get from those experiences, we have to be able to start to give ourselves. All right, my lovelies, I love you all, Phoenixes. This is Daniela of Redesign Your Life Forever, and I will see you next time.